Well, hello, hello, hello. It's going to be a good morning. Hold on, let me shut the door. Let me shut the door. I am so glad you're coming in, and we're going to sing together a little later on, but you're going to meet a friend of mine, Sherry Ann. Fascinating person. She is deaf and yet she sings, and she has a great ministry, and you're going to learn all about it. But first, come on in here and pull up a chair and tell me, oh, here we go. Tell me how you been. Well, my goodness. Oh, it's a little delayed. That's weird. Come on in. Come on in. Pull up a chair and tell me how you been. We're fixin' to sing. I'll do the lead. But if you would do the harmony, oh, but if you can't sing in tune, well, that's okay, because we still need you. Just don't forget your decaf on sweet tea. Then sit up straight and sing along with me. Come on in. Come on in. Hey, Kayla, Mary Knob, Ann Busey, tell me how you been. Don't forget that decaf on sweet tea. Then sit up straight and sing along with me. Yeah, sit up straight and sing along with me. Oh, I hope you're having a good, what is this, Thursday, February 8th, 9:59 a.m. You know the show is called Just Whenever. And I did announce that I'd go live at 10, but this was close enough. You're going to get to meet, if you've never met her, Sherry Ann. She's coming up in a minute. But before she shows up, I want to tell you, February 15th, we have very few tickets left in Lenoir, North Carolina. North Augusta, South Carolina is on the 16th. The 17th, Liberty, North Carolina is sold out, but we can see you in Fayetteville, North Carolina on the 18th. We'd love to see you. March 5th, I'm in Plant City, Florida at the Strawberry Festival. You don't want to miss that. That's going to be fun. Plus, you can take home a whole pallet of strawberries. March 8th, I'm in Oak Grove, Louisiana. March 9th, we're in Terrell, Texas. March 22nd, Lake Charles, Louisiana. And March 23rd, Bluebell, capital of the world. You know, Bluebell ice cream. Brenham, Texas. Go to marklowry.com/tour for more information. Also, November 8th and 9th, Mark Lowry Hometown Weekend. Go to marklowry.com to read all about that. If you're my age and you need a pill box, you can find them. Yes, I sell pill boxes. I know my crowd. It's such a beautiful day. Maybe I should surprise everyone and skip my medications, it says on the top. But don't do that. Everyone likes you better medicated. You know, I do too. I like me. You know, I can't take my medicines every day. I'm not perfect, but Jesus thought I was worth dying for. You could wear that around town. And if you're 65 or older, you can have this shirt. It's just patch and fix from here on in. And there's a special over at marklowry.com. With orders of $30 or more, you get a free gift. Here she is.
Hello.
Hello, Sherry Ann. Let me put my headphones in so I can make sure we hear each other well. How are you today?
I'm great, and I understand about hearing each other well. I get it.
Well, now you're in New York right now. Your home is where in New York?
Upstate New York, so it's actually or central. If you put your finger in the middle of the map, that's where I am in New York State.
How cool is that? Well, is it cold?
You know, this is crazy. We are normally like 2 feet of snow, and we have had like spring weather for us. It's like 50 degrees here, which is so unheard of. Completely unheard of.
Unbelievable. Well, nice. It's nice here in Houston. So, Sherry, how did you get involved with the Gaithers? I know I've seen you around for years, and the
Yeah.
next thing I know, you're up on the stage. Next thing I know, you're giving your testimony and singing. And so, how did that happen?
Oh gosh. where to begin? So should I save the testimony for after, or do you want me to
Oh, do it. Let's start there.
start
Tell
with
me
the
the
testimony?
testimony. Yeah.
Okay, because that's where how I eventually got to share it. So many of your listeners may or may not know I was born partially deaf. I wear two hearing aids, and the problem was no one knew that I had hearing loss, that I was born this way. Um, I went off to kindergarten just like all the other 5 year olds, but unlike the 5 year olds, I was failing out like right away. I began just making terrible grades, getting in trouble, getting put in the corner for not listening, getting scolded, um, really having a tough time of it. And no one knew. They just thought I was a problem child, just a delinquent. I My parents were splitting at that age when I was 5, and so they just thought that I was acting out and having, emotional problems, and they were so busy with what they were going through that nobody noticed I was having a battle. And so when the report cards came, you start to see there's a problem here. Well, thank God the school nurse did a physical and found out that I was hearing impaired. Like I was
Mm,
not a problem child. I was a child with a problem. Like I
right.
couldn't hear.
Right.
So here I am getting in trouble for that, and I have no way of hearing. So they give me my first hearing aid, my grades improve. With that, they thought, wow, let's give her a second hearing aid, and then my grades just catapulted. And so I went from this student who was like failing out, labeled as a problem child, to now an overachiever. And so for the next like 12 years of my academic career, I excel. Like I
Mm.
become top student. I had awards and scholarships and trophies and
It's
tiaras.
amazing when you can hear
Right?
how well you can do.
Right? I mean, try it sometime.
Yeah.
So I start super achieving because even as a little 5 year old, I had damaged self esteem. Like I thought that I wasn't good enough, I didn't measure up. So I was about to prove to everybody that I could be all of this. And I just kept achieving and achieving, so much so that I graduated high school 1 year early. I then went on to get 4 years of college paid completely by scholarships. And if that wasn't enough, I went on to get my doctorate degree and became a doctor by the age of 24. So I was just on this path to success. But by the age of 25, I just completely wanted to end it all. I was done. I was done with life. I couldn't do it anymore. And what had happened was I had actually driven myself into what some people think was a nervous breakdown. But I actually know it to be a perfection overdose. It was just thinking that I could achieve some perfect level of being, that if I could just get one more trophy or one more award or one more scholarship, because I was so used to feeling like I didn't measure up, I was overcompensating with all of these things that I was trying to get. And I thought if I got all of those things, then I would finally be loved. I would finally measure up. I would finally be good enough. And the problem with that is you just never achieve that good enough state and you drive yourself kind of crazy trying to get there. And that's what happened to me. I just crashed and burned. And when that happened, I just couldn't even pick up my head. I just couldn't face another day. No matter what I did, nothing was changing this deep hurt inside and this deep lack of self worth. And it just didn't matter. It didn't matter how many times my name was in the paper. It didn't matter how many competitions I won, beauty pageants, all of that. It just didn't matter. Nothing took away the pain and the hurt. And I just got to a point where I just said, God, what's the point? Are you even there? You know, I hear that God is love. Well, I don't see any love in this world. Everything I see is broken and relationships and are fractured and my parents divorced and people around me, all of my family were divorcing. And I just didn't see any reason to go on. I didn't see love. So if I didn't see love and I didn't see God, then I didn't see the point of me. I said, that's it. That's it. I quit. I quit this thing called life. And it's like the book of Ecclesiastes that's believed to have been written by Solomon, the wisest man of all time. And he said, he achieved all this wealth and all this greatness. And he got to the point where he said, what is the point of this life? And that's where I was at.
Mm.
And I just said, God, if you are really there and if you really exist, then this hearing impaired girl needs to hear from you right now, or it's just
Wow.
over. And I kid you not, Mark, it was in that moment that I heard, and actually, first I saw this incredible vision of the outstretched arms of Christ nailed to the cross. And I saw this blood dripping down his face, and I heard the words, I died for you so that you could live for me. And that just hit me like a lightning bolt. Like I just jumped, I was flat on my floor, crying, kicking and screaming, had my plan that I was going to end it all, knew what I was going to do. And I jumped up to my knees in haste. And I just put my hands together and I said, God, I am so sorry. I am so sorry for what I have made this. I made this about me and what I've done and what I can do and who I am, when it's all about who you are and what you have done. See, none of us can measure up. None of us will ever get to that perfect state of being. And that will lead you to despair, to realize that, except for to know that the one who is that perfect state of being died for you, died for your imperfection, died for all the ways that you won't measure up, and paid that price for you so that you can have what? Life, and life more abundantly. And the Bible says in John 10:10, it's the thief who comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And that is who was coming after my life, to steal, kill, and destroy. But Jesus comes to give us life and life more abundantly. And I didn't realize that until that moment. And right then and there, I said, Lord, take my life. I am so sorry. Take my life, take my ability, take my disability, and use it all for your glory, your kingdom, and your purpose. And that changed the trajectory of my life.
Well, how did you start singing? Were you singing already before the Lord came into your life? Did you sing a lot?
Yeah, so part of all those awards and accolades was I wanted to be a singer in life, and that I wanted to be a singer. I loved music. Music was my therapy, and I did
Yeah.
small county, and I was solos in school and all of that. But my mom, who's now a single mom, said that she didn't know the Lord, and she didn't think that a hearing and speech impaired girl could make a living as a singer and a speaker. And so she pushed me academically because I had all these great grades. And I went on to become a chiropractor.
Right.
And
I remember.
that's how I met you guys.
Yeah. Tell that story.
Yeah. So now I become a chiropractor, but I want to be a singer. And so, but I never stopped singing. I kept singing and singing and singing. And I would do it. I had my chiropractic practice, but I would sing on the side. And my mom came to know the Lord. Now, here's the funny thing. When my mom came to know the Lord, a friend of hers, she's a single mom, she goes back to school. A friend of hers in nursing school introduces her to church. Mom didn't go to church. I went to church, but it was very liturgical. You don't sing in church, right? You just go every Sunday, and that was my understanding of church. No relationship. So mom goes to church, finds the Lord, gets saved, has a relationship with the Lord, and it's a Black gospel church. She brings me. That's the music I love listening to, is Black gospel. I fell in love with the Lord there, began my relationship with the Lord, and began my singing of Christian music for the first time. And so after we had been at that church for some time, a friend of ours, that friend led us to a church that was closer to home. It was a Pentecostal church. And in this church, there's a woman there that takes my mom and I under her wing. And she is a fan of Gaithers. And so she finds out that I want to sing in church now. She says, well, listen to this artist. Her name is Janet Pascal.
Ooh,
So this is the
yeah.
first lady I ever listened to. Loved her, fell
Well,
in
you
love with her.
started with the best.
I had all her music, all her everything. I started with her music.
Yeah.
And so I started singing Janet Pascal, and that's all I know. I just know Janet Pascal. Well, this lady who mentors us comes to live with us for a period of time. And she has what's called Gaither VHSs. She actually has, they're not DVDs. They are like,
Right.
the tape.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So she has these tapes. And I don't know that Janet's associated with this. I don't know anything. I just know that Janet Pascal sings gospel music, and I learn her music and I sing it. And she's like, I want you to watch these videos. And I look at the covers, and here's my arrogance and my pride at the time. And pride comes before a fall. I look at the cover, and it's all these white people.
Yeah.
Remember, I was in a black gospel church, and I like black
Right.
gospel music, and that's all I know but gospel music. So I'm like, this isn't gospel music. I'm not going to listen to this.
Yeah.
And so I don't listen to it. And so she's day after day, I want you to hear these tapes. No, I'm not going to listen to it. You know, I was like 19, 20. I just don't want anything to do with it. So, and I have a long way to go. Like, God had a lot that he had to chip off my shoulder.
Yeah.
And so I refused to listen to it. Well, one day she leaves the tape playing and leaves the house. I come down the stairs. Nobody's there. I don't want any witnesses that I'm actually going to watch this. So I sit down on the couch, and it was Joy in the Camp.
Oh.
And on comes Donnie Sumner. Now, here's the thing. I only listen to black gospel mostly, but I also listen to Elvis Presley. So in my home, that's what we grew up with, Elvis Presley. And so Donnie Sumner, and he sang a lot of gospel and all of that. So he qualified for the black gospel music because he had a lot of soul.
Right.
So on comes Donnie Sumner, and Donnie was with the Stamps, who were with Elvis.
Right.
So God has a way of getting your attention.
Right.
Because I'm here, I sit down, and it's Donnie Sumner,
Yeah.
and he's sharing his testimony. Well, Mark, I can remember this like it was yesterday. And this is over 20 years ago. Oh, about 25 years ago.
Yeah.
I go in the bathroom. He starts telling his testimony, and I am a wreck.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I'm wiped out. And I go in the bathroom, and I get the tissues, and I come out. I watch the rest of the video. She also had Singing with the Saints up on the TV console. So I put in Singing with the Saints. And I'm just a wreck. I'm crying, I'm laughing, I'm clapping, I'm praising, I'm singing. And my friend Mary Ellen comes home, and she finds me on the couch. I kid you not, that entire box of tissues is wadded up and stuffed into the couch. I had been crying. I used every tissue in the box.
Yeah.
She came home, she found me watching the video, and I said, these people are the greatest people I've never met in my life. And I just started crying, and I
How much
hugged her.
longer? How much longer after that did we meet? How did I meet you?
Oh my gosh, like pretty soon after. So now I am hooked, right? And I tell her this music is life changing because I didn't know the power of a personal testimony. That's what
Right.
was life changing. The stories, the relationship. I wanted that.
Right.
So I start searching. I don't even know if there's Google at this time, right? But I'm
Yeah.
searching on the computer, and I'm searching all things Gaither. And I type in, Gaither Homecoming, and up pops Praise Gathering. That's the first thing that came up was
Right.
Praise Gathering.
Right.
2002 is the year. And there's a Praise Gathering coming up and in October. So I get tickets and I go. I'm like, I have to meet these people. I have to find them. I have to see them. I have to know them. I have to be them. That's what I said.
Oh,
And
my.
so I go to Praise Gathering, and I get there a day early, and I check into, the Indianapolis Convention Center.
Right across the street from St. Elmo's Steakhouse. My
Oh!
favorite place to get shrimp cocktail. But go ahead.
Well, it's huge. And I'm there in
Yeah.
this city by myself, this little girl from New York, and I don't know anybody. And I don't know that you can even meet people. Like, I don't know that there's booths and you can meet people. Like, I don't know about this. I
Right.
hadn't been to Christian concerts. I had only been to secular concerts, and they don't come out to meet you. So I get there a day early. I go to the expo hall to check things out, to find out where it's even going to be. And the hall is empty, but I see all these booths and these artist banners, and I'm like, wow. And the place is empty, but there's one booth that's all set up and ready to go. And it is you.
Okay.
It's Mark Lowry. And I have to tell you why that's so significant in a moment. But I was just so excited to be there. I had collected so many DVD videos. I had such a collection. I had known your stuff and your material. Your stuff got me through some really, really hard times. And I walked over to you and nobody was even in there. And I came up to you and I asked if I could get a picture made.
Oh
Can you
yeah.
see it?
Right. Oh, that's Mark Lowry on Broadway. That's a long time back. That
So
that
that was
sign behind me lets me know how long ago that was. So that's
it
got
was
to be what year?
2002. That's 22
Wow.
years ago.
Yeah. That's amazing.
But the thing about that, why it was so like you were the very first person of the Gaithers that I ever met.
Huh.
But that was so significant because I right after that salvation experience, remember how in the Gospel of Mark, when Jesus was baptized and the Holy Spirit ascended on him and he was anointed for ministry, right after that, the Gospel of Mark tells us he was led into the wilderness.
Right.
Right after my salvation encounter, I went into an incredible wilderness period. And it was actually you that got me through that period. And I can share that if you'd like to for me
Yeah.
to tell that a little
Tell
bit.
it. I'd love to hear
So
it.
I right after that, I had this wonderful experience, great, everything's going great. In my hometown in upstate New York, in Utica, they have the world's largest road race. It's a race on the road, and it's the world's largest. People from Africa, they come from Kenya, they come, everywhere to participate in this. World champion runners, but it's open to the public, so everybody can run this race. Now, it's been in my hometown for as long as I can remember, and I've never run the race. And I say I'm going to run the race on the 25th anniversary, which is just shy of my 30th birthday. So I have not run since high school. Okay, it's been 15 years since I've run, and I was not a great runner despite them trying to make me one. I got cramps. I did it one season and I stopped.
I
But
did
I
an
want to run this
11-minute
race.
mile in high school.
You did an 11-minute mile? Oh, 11-minute mile. I thought you said 11 miles.
And that's the last time I ran. If you ever see me running, you better run too, because something's chasing me. So what happened?
So I'm like, this is a 9-mile race, and I can't even run a mile. But I'm going to do this, right? Because I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Right.
So I get the training gear, I get the shirt, I get the sneakers, I get in the training program, everything. I'm not a week and a half into the training program that I start getting crazy symptoms. My heart's pounding out of my chest, everything's going numb on my body, weird numb sensations, having trouble walking, dizzy, vertigo, terrible spells, and I'm just getting overwhelmed with something. And I don't know what it is. So I quit the training program. Well, as time goes on, things are getting worse. And the dizzy spells are getting so bad that I would lay my head down on the pillow and couldn't pick it up because everything was spinning so bad. And the numbness was so bad, it was getting hard to speak. And I was a chiropractor at that time. And a lot of my patients, this is something that you have shared very openly about, a lot of my patients that I was working with at the time were dealing with MS. So I began to project that this is what was happening to me. And as a matter of fact, as time went on, I was convinced that this is what I had. And then the dizziness got so bad that I then thought I had, tumors and everything. I began to overreact and just think that everything was wrong with me. And I began to not be able to function. And so I had to go in and get all kinds of medical tests. I had gone to the ER several times. I got hooked up to all kinds of wires. They did CAT scan, MRI, brain scan, MRA, everything. I'm convinced that this is the end. I've got something fatal and this is it. And I am just a wreck. I go to get all of these brain tests done and they tell me I won't know the results for 2 weeks. Well, those were the worst 2 weeks of my life. Because I was so young and a lot of my patients were really struggling and I just thought that my life was going to be over. And so the first night after taking those tests, I couldn't sleep. I woke up all night with terrors and shakes. And my mom was with me, and she couldn't console me. She couldn't get me to sleep, and she would pray over me. And it was the next night, I was just wearing her out. So I had been exposed to the Gaithers at this time because I had that salvation encounter. But I had one video, Freedom Band. And my mom said, "You like that music. Why don't we try getting you some more of that music? Maybe that will help you." So I couldn't even drive at this point. So she drives me to the Christian bookstore. I managed the strength to walk in the store because I couldn't even walk. And I get the only DVD that they have, and it was called, you'll have to help me with this, I Do Believe, or I Still Believe. Which one?
I do believe.
I Do Believe?
Yeah, I do believe. I think it is.
I Do Believe. And that was Australia, right? Was that Australia homecoming?
Lord, you know these. You know more than I do. It's all a big blur to me, but go ahead.
It was in Australia. And
yeah, I remember going to Australia, but I don't remember the name of the video. Somebody, in the comments, they're commenting over here, so somebody in the comments can tell us the name of it. But it may be I Do Believe. I don't know. I know there was a song, I Do Believe.
Yes. You sang Make It Real. You did Jesus on the Main Line.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So that's where I'm going with this. So look at the songs on that. So I'm struggling. I'm having a faith crisis, and I Do Believe, Make It Real. Now more than ever, I cherish the cross. Somebody's watching me, right? This is what's on that DVD. So I put it in because I can't sleep because I'm waiting for these results, and I put it in that first night, and on comes Jesus on the Main Line. You did this. Tell them what you want.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm telling you what, Mark, I watched a lot of comedy in my life because my family watched a lot of comedy. At that moment in time, I had never seen anything so funny in my entire life. I laughed till I cried. And then when the faces that you made, and then you took your shoe off and you put it in front of Bill Gaithers' face. Do you remember that? You took your shoe off and put it front of Bill Gates, and I screamed so loud I thought I was going to wake up the neighbors. I was laughing so hard.
Well, that evolved, after a while, it went from and then finally, after you've done it about 30 or 40 times to keep it going, finally the shoe was off, and so that's the one they recorded. Yeah.
It was the funniest thing. I hadn't laughed in weeks, and I rewound the tape, and it's like midnight, and I played it about 20 times that night until I laughed so hard I fell asleep. And I did that for 2 weeks, and I just kept rewinding that and rewinding it. I actually broke the tape, rewinding it so much.
Wow.
And it was just that number, that Jesus on the Main Line, that comedy.
That's the one that got you through your tough time?
Yes. So
good.
So this is like, so I get the results now. 2 weeks is up. You get me through this time with the Lord's gift that he gave you. And I get my results. Everything's negative. Like there's nothing wrong with me at all. Like laughter is the best medicine.
Well, you worried about nothing. There was nothing wrong with you all along. I say don't go to the doctors. That way you don't find out. No, I'm going to the doctor in a week for my yearly physical. No, you need to go to the doctor. But don't worry. I'm a big what is the word? I'm a big proponent of not worrying. Just why? There's not a thing so I'm glad you came through that. And I love to hear you sing. And everybody can go to SherryAnn with an E.com. And have you got more stories for us?
Well, the funny thing is, I could just tell you how I got to Family Fest.
Okay. Well, wait, we're going to sing a song first. I want to sing with my people, and we'll be right back with SherryAnn. Everybody sit up straight. It's time to sing and stretch, and this world is not my home. Ready? This world is not my home. I'm just a passing through. My treasures are laid up somewhere beyond the blue. The angels beckon me from heaven's open door, and I can't feel at home in this world anymore. Oh Lord, you know I have no friend like you. If heaven's not my home, then Lord, what will I do? The angels beckon me from heaven's open door, and I can't feel at home in this world anymore. Well, I have a loving mother over in glory land, and I don't expect to stop until I shake her hand. She's waiting now for me in heaven's open door, and I can't feel at home in this world anymore. Sing, y'all. Well, oh Lord, you know I have no friend like you. If heaven's not my home, then Lord, what will I do? The angels beckon me from heaven's open door, and I can't feel at home in this world anymore. In this world anymore. Hoop-a-doop-boop, a-boop-bow. Yeah, y'all, and we are back with Sherry Ann. Sherry, you there?
Yes, I
Oh,
am.
good, I'm still here. Okay, let's hear one more story. You're a chiropractor. How did that
Yeah.
happen?
So,
But that may not be the story we want to tell. I do know you're a chiropractor, and I think it's incredible because I've enjoyed that from your hands before. I love how you can pop a neck. I love going to the chiropractor, and I don't go that often. Do you go a lot?
So I went all my life, which is how I got interested in becoming one because my mom wouldn't let me be a singer. But, I tell people to do it periodically. It's like you go to the dentist to get your teeth checked, go to the chiropractor to get your spine checked.
Yeah,
Use
it's
that more than
nice.
anything, right?
Yeah. So you've been on the road now. People can find you at sherryann.com. They can invite you to come to their ladies conference or
That's
their
right.
church or whatever.
Singles conferences.
What kind?
I do singles conferences too.
Okay.
Singles. Yeah.
Good. Well, what else you want to tell us?
Do you see why now meeting you after finding out that it was that that DVD or that video that got me through the toughest time in my life, you were the first person I met. So see how God even did that for me. Right after I came through that dark period, right after I came through that dark period, I ended up doing that Boilermaker race. Once I found out there was nothing wrong with me, I went back in the race. I finished the race, like Paul says. I fought the fight. I finished the race, and then I went on to meet you guys right after that, and you were the first person I met. So after meeting you, I met at that same event Linda Randall and the Booth Brothers, which leads to how I got to Family Fest, how I got connected from being no longer a chiropractor to now a singer.
Are you full-time now?
I am full-time.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I retired from chiropractic 5 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So I haven't done that in 5 years. And kind of this whole thing. So I meet you first, then I meet Linda Randall, and shortly after that, the Booth Brothers. And those two people are like the bookend to my life because Linda was one of the very first people to take me under her wings. She doesn't even realize this, but she prayed over me that the moment I met her. She gave me her music, which I began singing. I started singing God on the Mountain everywhere. And she gave me her blessing to do that. And what a generous soul she is. Mm-hmm. And I went out to see her and to stay with her. And she was just a very incredible person in my life. And I also met the Booth Brothers right after that at Praise Gathering. And I would go on to work with them for like the next decade of life. I would eventually go on to work with them. And so I continue to sing and work on my craft on the side and do whatever events I could while also being a chiropractor, but always praying, always believing that someday God would make a way for me to do. God would make a way. That's one of Janet's songs, one of her songs. But that God would make a way for me to do this full time. And eventually that came 5 years ago. And I always stayed in touch with Bill. I did my first CD at Gaithers Studios, so he was well aware. I've worked on, a lot of the Homecoming crew, him and Gloria, been to the house and all of that good stuff. And so finally, when I went full time, and Bill Gaither had come to New York a few times with the vocal band, and so I sang with the vocal band and Gaither a number of times in New York. But I always wanted to sing with Homecoming, and Family Fest was my favorite event because there's no praise gathering doesn't happen anymore.
Right.
So it's just Family Fest. And my dream and my like it was like a 10-year prayer that I didn't tell anybody about, but I would just pray that I could one day stand on that stage at Family Fest. And the invite came in 2022. It actually came in 2020, but COVID shifted that to 2022. And I stood up on that stage. You were there for the first time at Family Fest. And Linda had just come down from the stage. I got called up. And when I got done, the Booth Brothers were the next act to come up on the stage. So it was amazing that my first time there, I was bookended by the two influential, like Linda and the Booth Brothers. And I was in the middle. And Bill, he had a gift for orchestrating programs. And he didn't even know that.
No.
It was incredible.
That was a little God wink to you. Thank you, Sherry Ann, for being on Just Whenever. I'm so glad you leaned over to me at Family Fest and said, can I be on your program? Because I've enjoyed having you. And y'all, you got to check her out, sherryann.com. And you need to have her at your church. She'd love to come, from what I can tell. Looks to me like you'd love it, wouldn't you?
I'd love it. Thank you so much, Mark. This has been a gift to me.
Well, I love you, darling. You have a good day.
You too.
Are y'all ready to sing a little bit more before we go? Till the storm passes by. I love that sweet girl. You got to really check her out, y'all. She's a blessing. What a miracle. In the dark of the midnight, have I oft hid my face, while the storm howls above me, and there's no hiding place. Mid the crash of the thunder, precious Lord, hear my cry. Keep me safe till the storm passes by. All right, sing, y'all. Till the storm passes over, till the thunder sounds no more, till the clouds roll forever from the sky. Hold me fast, let me stand in the hollow of thy hand. Keep me safe till the storm passes by. And many times Satan whispers, there is no need to try, for there's no end of sorrow, there's no hope by and by. Oh, but I know thou art with me, and tomorrow I'll rise where the storms never darken the skies. Sing, y'all. Till the storm passes over, till the thunder sounds no more, till the clouds roll forever from the sky. Hold me fast, let me stand in the hollow of thy hand. Keep me safe till the storm passes by. Keep me safe till the storm passes by. I have thoroughly enjoyed being with you today. So enjoyed Sherry Ann. Check out Sherry Ann, SherryAnne.com. And you can scroll down, learn all about her, hear her sing. A deaf girl singing, y'all. There's miracles all around this child. So check it out, and I will see you when I see you.